Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews. So I did a poll for my lookbacks that I'm doing for the MCU, and Age of Ultron finished out and as the majority. So I'm going to be doing a look back at Age of Ultron. I'm not going to be focusing on the objective. Everybody knows that it's a flawed movie. I'm focusing on the subjective, where I have heard many people complaining and saying, it's not like the comics, it's not like the comics. Well, guess what? If anybody pays attention, a little more attention to not just the movies, but to the behind-the-scenes stuff, you would have heard Marvel Studios come out pretty early on saying that it's not going to be perfectly adapted from the comics. We are going to change a few things because realistically they don't make sense to put them up, or the comics don't make sense in certain areas. So, you know what? I took that as, you know what? They care enough to try to add a realistic feel. Let's go. Because Hank Pym in the comics does or creates Ultron, not Stark. But I thought it was an interesting concept where the Mind Stone was responsible for the creation of Ultron. Or basically, the Mind Stone kind of is the consciousness that was all Ultron. Them using the scepter, Loki's scepter again, was interesting. And Vision was interesting. Paul Bettany finally being a more active role other than Jarvis was a good touch. One of my favorite lines in this movie was the line where Hill is talking to Captain America, explaining their powers, and he just looks at her like, what? And she's like, he's fast and she's weird. The introduction of Ulysses Claw in this movie was interesting. It shows, or when Stark says that he knows that guy, black market arms and whatnot, and then Cap looks at him, he's like, there are conventions, you meet people, I didn't sell him anything. But then, if you're listening to Ultron, you hear, well, like I always say, keep your friends rich, keep your enemies rich, and then find out which is which. And Claw recognizes the saying. Tony Stark used to say that to me, you're one of his. And you just see the absolute hatred for Stark in Ultron. I'm not, and then he just slices off his arm. I'm not Stark, man. Don't compare me to Stark. It's the thing with me, Stark. He's a sickness. And the banter back and forth between Stark and Ultron was very well done. Nobody has to break it. Clearly you haven't broken, or clearly you've never made an omelet. He beat me by 1 second. It just goes to show that there is a little bit of Stark in Ultron. Now, that would probably get me killed if Ultron was real and heard me say that. A lot of people have also said that this movie was not as good as the other Avengers movies. Well, one of the things is, this guy literally forced a scenario where it's either billions dead or it's thousands to millions, depending on how long you decide to fight Ultron and whatnot. Because he turned a chunk of the Earth into a meteor that would eventually lead to global extinction if it got high enough and then reverses. So, yeah, he was a true world threat. You gotta admire somebody with that steadfast of a conviction that the world needs to end if it's to survive. Humans need to die in order for the world to survive. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I can honestly see the point there. Yeah, humans are shitty. And most likely you might be correct. But you know what? We could have room to improve. Now, do I think that we need to wipe out everybody on Earth? No. No, no, no. But I do enjoy this movie. I mean, I acknowledge that Marvel's plans were not to create a carbon copy of the comics. That's just ridiculous for them to even try doing that. And they even acknowledge that. So I respect them for that. So all the hardcore fans, all the die-hard Marvel fans that are like, it should have been like this. No, it shouldn't have. Because guess what? If you want to read that story, you can read that story. There are some stories that need to be told in a different way to draw other people in. I'm sorry. I agree with that outlook. If you want to bring other people in, you got to tell a semi-different story than what you've seen in the comics. Anyway, folks, that is going to be my look back. I thought it was a good movie. Subjectively, moviegoer, it's entertaining. But yeah, it is flawed as well. So, if you guys can tell me what other problems people had with the movie, feel free to share them with me in the comment section. So yeah, y'all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know in the comment section what other people were saying this movie was bad. Why this movie was bad. Because honestly, from a subjective standpoint, I cannot see it. I liked it. I liked Age of Ultron. So please, let me know in the comment section below why people were having problems with this movie. Anyway, this has been Orange Chat Reviews. Stay humble.